Hello and welcome to the Shack News Chattycast, the podcast that just wants to be left alone. I'm one of your hosts, Steve Watts.
I am your other host, Brian Carr, and I am on Team Iron Man.
Every week we pick a big topic, post about it on the Shack News Chatty, and then we talk about it in detail with your comments fueling the discussion, hence Chattycast. Today's guest is a man who bought a social network with a game site attached, Asif Khan.
Hi. I guess it's like an antisocial network.
Yeah, that's true. That should be our slogan. Chatty, the anti-social network. So this is the Chattycast. Every week we post about a topic on the Shack News Chatty, talk about it. This week we're going to be talking about the blurring line between single and multiplayer as more consoles, and obviously the PC is always connected, but more consoles are growing connected, and game designers are sort of making that a prerequisite. So you're more likely to just bump into other people as you're playing your otherwise single-player game. We're going to talk about sort of the ramifications of that and where we expect to see that going, inspired by the release of The Division this week. But first, before we talk about The Division, because I know that a couple of us have been playing The Division, I'll start with Brian, because I know he hasn't been. We're going to talk about what we've been playing. Brian.
I have not been playing The Division.
No.
I feel like I'm the only person in the world not playing it, but I stand by my decision
Ubisoft did vaguely brag about its sales numbers. Very vaguely.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
Without saying units.
Yeah, they were like, it's
Right.
the best seller, but we're not going to tell you how many.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't inspire confidence.
It's
like
the best seller in a week. Nothing else came out.
It's like Apple Watch. They're like, we had the best quarter for Apple Watch ever. It's like, well, how many did you sell? Well, it's the best.
That's not important. The point is,
We're just all trying to have a good time here, guys. We're all just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Bring numbers into this.
So The Division is seemingly pretty big. There are a lot of people playing it, us included. But Brian, what have you been playing?
Mostly Fire Emblem, and gotta tell you, I am pretty far along in Birthright, and I honestly do not know if I need to play any more Fire Emblem after this. I feel like I have hit
I think you could probably take a break.
I feel like I'm hitting my upper threshold of Fire Emblem, largely because I don't know if it's just the story in this one isn't quite what I was hoping it would be, and like maybe it's because the story needs to unfold over 3 games, but just something like it's harder and harder to go back to. But I will say I do enjoy it when I go back to it. I just don't know if I need to jump right back in right away. So
yeah, I mean it is a lot of game. Like I tried to sort of allude to this in my review. Like it's almost a normal-sized Fire Emblem game, and
Right.
then there's 3 of them. so doing that like back to back to back is a little rough. I enjoyed my time with it, but I kind of had to do that because I was reviewing it. If you have the freedom to be like, I'm going to take a little break, and in a couple of months I'm going to do this other story. You know?
It's not indicative of the quality of the game. It's a very good game. It's just, once you're done, I kind of get to the point where I'm like, all right, I think I can take a break from this.
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask your opinion about this.
Yeah.
Near the end of every one of them that I played, like I got tired of all the talking. Like there's so much.
No,
talking.
I have been skipping the support scenes. It's like, okay, so and so have a support sequence. Okay, great, start.
And you feel like you have to do them, and you're like, oh god damn it, like.
Well, no, well that's the thing. It's like I look at them like, okay, do I care about these characters? Not really. Hit start.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if I did care about the characters, I started to just be like, because they have a lot of unnecessary patter. Like it's not scripted for efficiency.
No.
In a way that they're just getting the information across. There's a lot of like, what do you mean? And the other person's like, blah 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 blah. And then like,
And with all the I want to say controversy, but that's too nice a word for the idiocy surrounding the translation for this game. I think it's a very good translation. They did a very good job localizing it. It's just that there's a certain point where the day-to-day dealings of these personalities really does not matter to me.
I mean, there is a point
I'm
that, like,
there
you're
for
like,
the strategy.
I want to get to my next strategy mission, but I feel like I have to do all of these talky things.
Yeah.
And for me, it actually affected the story. It's in a pretty minor way, so I didn't really bother to mention it. But it affected the story a little bit because I would get through all these talky bits of their sequences between each other, and then you start a mission, and then there's like a story setup thing for the mission, and by then you've seen so much talking between the characters, you're just like, like, just start the mission. Yeah, I know monsters showed up. I'll kill them.
Yeah. Okay, King's bad. Cool. He's gonna summon freaky zombie things. Right.
Yeah.
There's a village full of shapeshifters. Don't care. Just let me go and do the thing I'm doing. Right.
Exactly.
But yeah, but it's still good. The other thing I did actually get my hands on was, well, there are two things. I also been dabbling a little bit in Resident Evil Revelations 2 because of that sale on PSN last week. So I got the whole
nice.
package with everything in it, and that's a pretty solid Resident Evil game. It's very budget, like it's a very very low budget game. They definitely spared expenses. I'll say that. But it is a solid Resident Evil game at a time where I kind of wanted to play one, and raid mode is super fun. It might actually have been worth the money in and of itself, but none of you want to hear about that. You want to hear about Bravely Second,
Yes.
which I got the early demo, I should say, not beta.
One of those Best Buy people.
What does beta mean
You
anymore?
assholes.
Nothing.
So I got it a few days ago.
Nintendo's real cozy with Best Buy, actually. It didn't occur to me until just now that this is a Best Buy exclusive, and also all of their
I've got a set of 7 Mario Maker pins I got through there too. It's all good.
Yeah. Their E3 stuff is also Best Buy exclusive. They're closing up with Best Buy.
It's like they're single-handedly trying to save Best Buy.
And it's working. They've actually been doing a lot better, apparently. But anyway, so I haven't really delved too deep into it, largely because it's kind of a lot to go through at the same time to going through Fire Emblem, but it sure does look like Bravely Default. It sure does play that way. Yeah. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but man, they did not go outside the box for this.
Yes, they did, Brian. You know why? Catmancer.
Yeah, but they don't. But Catmancer hasn't shown up yet.
Oh, that's just funny. What classes are in the
so
demo?
far, they start you off with
you're like, what the fuck?
I mean, basically, yeah. I can't remember offhand, but they start you off with a lot of like the basic classes. I'm guessing they save some of the really wacky, fun ones for the actual game. But it's meant to be, and this is why I'm going to play through it and finish it. It's meant to be like a side story that explains some things or provides context to stuff that happens in the main game.
They did the same thing with the demo for the original, right?
Yeah, I think if I remember right with the demo for the original, it was more just like, here's just a version of this game, or here's just part of the game, and we'll change it up a little bit for the demo. But I don't think they told a separate story. It was just more like an interpretation or like a slice of the actual story. This one is its own separate thing. So you get the characters you play as are not necessarily the characters you play as in the main game.
Is the statute of limitations of spoilers on Bravely Default up?
It's what?
I have a question.
It's over 2 years old now, right?
I have a question in mind, but it's a little spoilery.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just say spoilers. Bravely Default spoiler.
Yeah, Bravely Default spoilers. Does this address Eri? I assume she's back in some way.
Not so far. No.
Okay.
It does.
I'm just wondering, does the premise really continue that whole thing, or what?
I mean, it gives. They don't really specifically address that by name. They do give you a little bit of an idea of the status quo of the universe. What's her name? Agnes, that's it. She's the Pope now, which, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it, Agnes, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's Agnes. I don't know. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Then there's also, if you remember the end of Bravely Default, the little teaser for the second game, the sequel, they had that weird lady from the moon show up. She is playable in this demo. That character does show up and it's playable part of the demo.
It sounds like the ramblings of a crazy person to anyone who didn't play the first.
Well, and then of course you remember
the lady from the moon is back.
Well, you remember from the first game, you had that little village you could maintain, and you send guys out to it. You do that in this one too, but it's the moon. It's her home village on the moon, and I can already tell I'm losing most of the Shack audience as I'm talking about this, but it definitely gives you an idea of who that character is if you finished all of Bravely Default and saw the teaser at the end of it. So
when we talk about Bravely Second, we've gotten some good interest. So I feel like the Shackers are behind it.
People are interested in this game. There's no question about it.
The first game, Asif, you didn't play the first game, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It did sound like the ramblings of a crazy person.
Eri was
also in the arc of Nintendo. I'm like, oh, it's not that.
Yeah, just go with it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's not
Lady from the moon. That doesn't sound.
It's like Square Enix always had a weird obsession with the moon in their RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the first game, Eri, this is the spoiler I was alluding to if anyone wants to mute it again or something.
The game's 2 years old. If you haven't played it by now, it's your problem.
Eri was the fairy
Yeah.
that was following you around throughout the whole game, and then the fourth time you play it, because that was the dumb thing about that game, they reveal that like she was the evil one the entire time. And so it's one of my favorite spoilers / wordplay because they've got is it fairy flies or something like that?
Well, the subtitle is called "Where the Fairy Flies," and then
when they fade away most of the text until it says "Eri lies"
in red. It's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell.
Because I was playing that at like 2 in the morning, and just that came up, and I'm just like, well, I'm done for the night. Like
I'm going to bed.
But then that moment is like actually kind of a little creepy.
It is very like the whole idea is creepy because like there's it foreshadows it from the beginning in a lot of really subtle ways, and like once you put it all together and like you see little hints and clues they were dropping, it gets super creepy.
It's kind of like if you were playing through like Ocarina of Time, and at the very end they reveal that like Navi was the demon controlling Ganondorf.
That'd be so much better, though. That would make that game so much better.
That would be on par with that twist.
But anyway, it's like if you like that first one, I mean, I think the demo's out today for the normals. So if you liked that first game, I think you're gonna like this, and you got the demo to check out. Plus, it unlocks stuff in the main game too, so it's worth checking out just for that.
Yeah, definitely. I've got to get on that. So speaking of 3DS games, I'll just touch on this very quickly. I've sort of gotten back into Pokemon Picross, which I reviewed a long time ago. But like every once in a while, I get this weird like Picross itch, and they didn't announce Picross 3D 2, which I know exists in Japan. They didn't announce that at the Nintendo Direct, like I was kind of expecting them to. Because I was like, that can't be a hard... Yeah, or Detective Pikachu, what the hell? But Detective Pikachu, like, at least that requires translation. Picross, it's like, that requires no translation whatsoever. It should be the easiest thing to bring over. Like, come on, there shouldn't be delay. So I got my weird Picross itch, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just keep plugging away at Pokemon Picross, because it was their free-to-start game, and so I did not completely finish it when I reviewed it. I got through enough that I'm like, okay, this is a game that's meant to last, like, months, and and I can review based on what I've already played. So I've sort of been plugging away at that thing, and I'm still real bad at Picross. Like when you get the bigger puzzles, I'm just like, I don't know. It's all math and logic, and I'm not good at either of those things. So yeah, Asif, have you been playing anything besides The Division? I feel like we should get all that stuff out of the way.
Yeah, and I've been playing a couple things. I still play GTA Online. Probably trying to do my dailies, and then I've been doing shack battles. So we had a convoy, an American Truck Simulator. It's on Fridays, and we were either being stream sniped or griefed. Like we had a 14 shacker convoy. I'm talking trucks with trailers attached to them, driving. I think we were in Eureka, California, by Greg's house, and we were driving down to LA. And we were taking the scenic route. So we're getting slammed into this whole time by a couple of these guys that are clearly just trolling us. And about an hour before the convoy's up, I'm just driving down the highway. I may have been passing some shackers, and this guy just plops his truck right in front of me, and I slam into it, and I go flying like 60 feet in the air. And I got banned from the server because apparently I was the one at fault for that. So that's one thing. That's one story of a game I played in the last week. And there was a meme that started on the chatty where I was pouring out a 40-ounce saying "Free Briefcase Man" with the hashtag "Free Briefcase Man." Because I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't doing anything any more out of the line than any other shacker playing the game. But apparently, while they were griefing us, they were reporting me for griefing them.
What the hell?
I play with, I don't really care. So I'm like, I wasn't really doing it back to them, but apparently they had been doing it for 2 hours, and then I got banned.
It's like
the American Truck
calling
Simulator.
The police and then starting a fight so the other person gets arrested.
What's funny is that like there's the devs for the game, and then there's the multiplayer version is a mod. So it's like a whole other community. So they reached out to me on Twitter, like, oh, if you want to appeal your ban. I was like, it's a 2-hour ban. It just sucked because it knocked me out of the convoy. But it made for for a decent YouTube clip.
So the question I gotta
Um,
ask is, did you guys play the song Convoy? Like,
So
see
yeah,
it at all?
there's great question. There's a shacker. His name's Krabs Gerard, and he has a radio station that he links to us,
Mhm.
and it's all sorts of stuff. The Convoy is one of those songs. Yeah, it's actually
You know-
really good. It's a very eclectic mix of 90s, 80s, classic rock, hip hop. All sorts of good stuff.
Now I'm imagining like GTA crossing over with like American Truck Simulator, and it's just like
Yeah.
one shared universe.
That would be awesome. If I could if there was just literally a Convoy version of GTA Online, I would just be like, hey guys, let's go over here and play this, because then you can put guns on top of the trucks and stuff. It'd be fun. Instead of, it's boring. I mean, simulator games are boring.
It quickly turns into Mad Max. They're like, we didn't even design a dystopian environment. We don't know how that happened.
I mean,
Drive up in your
simulator games-
pirate buggy and like shoot harpoon guns into the car. Oh man!
Witness.
I appreciate what simulator games try to do, like trying to make it as realistic as possible and create immersion and stuff, because that stuff kind of applies to VR. But it's boring by yourself, so it's fun in the Convoy. When you have like 14 shackers and you're like, where am I going? Someone crashes into someone, they have to go get their truck fixed. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just you're driving a truck on the road, and there's no other cars. It's just trucks.
There's another great truck driving song, which is actually called "Truck Driving Song" by Weird Al Yankovic.
The two best truck driving songs.
Well, there's all kinds of trucker songs. There's another one, I think, a Bachman Turner Overdrive, "Let It Roll Down the Highway." Yeah, that's another good one. There's a great amount of trucker music out there.
Lord lift us up where we belong, etc.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
been playing that.
Classic trucker songs.
Been playing that. Been playing Rocket League still, because that game's great. And
Did you get the Batmobile? Is it all Batmobiles now?
I haven't.
Did everyone
I
buy
haven't
one?
seen the Batman. I don't think. I don't
I
buy
thought
anything in that game. It costs money, right?
Yeah, I think it's like
Yeah.
$2.
I'm not going to buy anything on Rocket League. I already bought the game.
I assumed that everyone was going to immediately buy the Batmobile, and every multiplayer match would just be Batmobiles.
That's not the case. I think shackers are pretty frugal when it comes to their Rocket League cars. It's all about getting the roach topper on your car. Apparently, that's like when you're the hotness. I don't know. But yeah, they have new maps there. So one's like a donut instead of just a regular soccer kind of field. It's weird because you can drive through the goal to defend. So it kind of changes the whole dynamic.
Oh, that is
It's
weird.
a little more arcadey. They have another one where there's like tiers. So there's like on the sides of the level, you're kind of elevated, and then down is more like the regular soccer field. So yeah, they've changed up the game. They keep doing fan service to the game.
I don't think we had that in Newsy Bits, but that was just recently announced to have its own esports league.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense. Like, practically since it came out, you knew that was happening.
I can't wait till we get a FIFA Rocket League, and then it's just like corrupt dudes just like trying to rig the contracts for Rocket League stadiums. I want that so bad.
The snake eating its own tail of sports is like FIFA Rocket League.
I'm just saying Rocket League needs its own FIFA. I want all the controversy and all of that. Like,
yeah, like a corrupt
there's already There's
Yeah.
already controversy in esports though about drug use, Adderall use, cocaine use, and all these like different amphetamines that people are allegedly using to give themselves an advantage. I'm not sure if you're all high on crank if that's actually going to make you better at video games.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I have zero experience in cocaine, but I feel like it would be much worse at games.
I don't imagine. Like, I understand the concept of people that are using Adderall recreationally and how that is a focus-driven drug. So maybe that could help someone, but it's weird that PEDs are already kind of creeping into esports.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, you had Maria Sharapova just came out this week saying that she was using PEDs. So it's kind of everywhere. But yeah, anytime there's a sport, there's gonna be someone trying to cheat. Just like
I'm just waiting for like the doping scandal where just shooting needles into their fingers and like you see your player come out with like Italian sausages at the end of their hand.
I mean, there's a lot of money attached to some of these tournaments now. You can win millions of dollars for your team.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be
edge people look for.
Yeah. It's sad.
Weird. We had different reactions to that. I said weird. He said sad.
I hope it never comes to Mario Kart.
No.
Just keep
fun
the crank.
Fun is their anti-drug. let's move on to the Division. We've both been playing, and our big topic this week isn't the Division itself, but it's very much inspired by the Division. So I figure we'll just roll from one to the other. So I've been playing quite a bit. I think most of us at Shack have been playing quite a bit, but partly because we're all like contributing to guides and things like that. The review is in progress right now because they didn't get us code until like the day of release. And it was the same reasoning they gave for Destiny. The whole like, well, it's meant to be played online and things like that. I will say, in the case of the Division, I feel like it's a little more justifiable than in the Destiny, because in Destiny you always had to like pair up, and the missions were structured in such a way that you could do them all single player, and I did do most of my missions in single player in Destiny. In this, it feels a little more organic the way that you pair up with other players. So, Asif, what are your thoughts so far? What's your build? What are you going for, and what are your thoughts?
I went into it with very low expectations. I didn't even participate in the beta. Because we had however many codes for the staff. I was like, you guys take it, do whatever you want.
I don't care.
No, I was like, I try to encourage the staff to have codes to whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah, I was constantly asking them. I was like, so what do you think? Even Shackers, I was like, so what do you guys think? They're like, oh, I think you'll like it. I'm a huge Gears of War fan, and I love cover-based shooters. I love Uncharted as well for that reason. But where I like Gears more is the Horde mode aspect. What I think the Division's really done is that almost all of their missions kind of have a Horde feel to it, where you said it's
there's
really
almost always waves of guys coming at you.
Yeah. And I hear people criticizing, oh, bullet sponge this, bullet sponge this. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I just like a game that's just hordes of people coming at me that I can kill. It's mindless, and it's easy to pick up, play for 5 to 10 minutes, and put down, which I really like. Those are things I look for in games. I think it hits this really interesting balance where the story is just compelling enough where you're like, huh. Because people always pan the story in Gears as being kind of shallow and, Jerry Bruckheimer-ish. Division's actually kind of cool, and they're doing these things with the evidence, where you get video evidence and it shows you someone's experience, how they died, how they were killed, or, 911 calls, and, like, they're
it's
really...
almost like the Batman Arkham, was it Arkham City, that had those, like, sort of vignettes that would play out in a holographic-looking thing? It's got something kind of like that.
Those. They're called echoes.
Yeah.
When you hold down the X button, it's like all these little holograms appear around you, and you can walk up to them and hear what they were saying at that moment. That's really cool. And it's great you brought that up because the visual effects in the game are really impressive. I'm running it on PC. It's beautiful. It's one of the best looking games to come out this year. And I really like. When you set a waypoint, how it kind of borrowed from Watch Dogs, I believe, that the navigation, the HUD,
line.
Yeah, that orange line.
I know people making fun of it for that during the beta, but it's like that's smart. Like I want to know which road is the best one.
Honestly, it's it's like okay, there's that little beacon on the radar already in every game. Why not give me a line to it instead of me running around in circles like an idiot? I like. That's why I like it. It's like that's why I go back to it being kind of mindless. It's not going to be a game where it's like, oh, I have to go this way and then I have to go that way. It's like all this work. It's like, okay, I'm going here. I'm gonna kill something. I gotta save that thing. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's that packaged experience that I like about it. At the same time, I can understand how people are saying it's very shallow in that respect. But it's early in the game.
There is basically like one thing that you do is go places and kill people, which that's any shooter.
No, but sometimes sometimes you have to let people out of a room.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to blow something up, and sometimes you have to kill another guy besides the other guys.
I mean, so far there are like two. I'm sure there are more in the late game, but so far there are like two basic enemy types. There's the looters, which are just like the dudes with the masks that they're just guys with guns. And then there's the what are they called? The purge guys, the guys that just want to set everything on fire. Like there's this faction.
Is that the fire department? Is that what I'm getting? Is that like the fire department and the police department in New York City are fighting each other right now? Because like
I don't.
What are those?
I don't know. I don't think they're the fire department. I think they're just.
That's what I'm assuming.
I
Because I'm
think they're
like,
just people who have decided for themselves, like, the plot that I've picked up so far is like they just figure this virus is out of hand. The only way to stop it is with fire. We're gonna burn everybody that even shows like any signs of sickness.
that guy Joe. That
they're
guy
trying
Joe.
to control it, but they're going like way too far. I will say, like the premise of this game is like kind of silly. Speaking of story, it's like okay, the premise is there's this super virus that gets released through money on Black Friday. Okay, I guess, and it basically leads New York to be utterly decimated in a matter of I don't know some very short amount of time. But then like there are just sleeper cells that are like the hey the anti apocalypse sleeper cells, which is like that's a very specialized agency that the government has apparently set up. So like the premise is kind of silly, but as far as the world building goes, which is a big part of storytelling, they do that really well. Like there's an opening video that's actually like kind of intense and sad, and like I had to start a new game today because I was working on something that happens at the beginning of the game, and they don't let you skip that movie, so I had to watch it again. And I'm just like, oh my god, this thing is so sad. It's like so effective at
here's my
making
question.
you feel this.
When you say it's spread by money,
yeah,
like cash, like paper money.
yes, paper. That's
I want to see. I want to see
part of
like the other
the
side of
science.
this, right? Because here's the thing. I want to see the other side. I want to see like smug, like just so happy with themselves, Silicon Valley being like, well, we're a cashless society.
Yeah.
So we survived the virus.
Yeah, San Francisco's fine.
Right here.
New
This
York.
is why. That's how I survived the virus
Yeah, like-
right here. Apple
Yeah,
Pay.
I use Apple Pay, so I didn't die. Like this.
Yeah.
But that
Now
opening
I'm
movie that opening movie that I was referring to, like, really illustrates why that could get out of hand because they only show like one or two people actually handling paper money,
Uh-huh.
because not many people actually would. But then they make a point of showing like that person like touching a walkway banister or coughing on the subway or something like that, and it just very quickly gets out of hand.
Mine's funnier.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be funny, so yes, yours is funnier.
Mine's way funnier.
but
Yeah.
But
if
I
Vision
think
was a
also-
comic.
for me, I'm coming at this from like the opposite angle as you. It sounds like you're like super into like Gears of War style shooters, and this is like it's kind of like that, and it stacks on top of that these RPG mechanics. I'm more into RPGs. That's historically what I've kind of always been into as one of my favorite genres, and I like shooters fine, but I've never been super skilled at them. So I'm coming at this like oh cool, it's a loot-driven RPG.
Yeah.
With these shooting mechanics.
No, I also like loot. I don't usually have time to play the games that require a lot of crafting and stuff. Destiny is a fine example of that. Whereas like it was almost fun enough to get me to keep grinding, but it just didn't get me. Whereas this is like just the perfect balance of amount of time invested per loot drop, and it's like. That's where I think they really got it right. No, I like things like that. It's just, and I kind of wish that Gears had something like that, where your weapons got better, your armor got better through the game. But yeah, and this is the multiplayer co-op aspect of this game, which is what our topic is kind of about, definitely lends to that kind of environment. It's like they sat there and they looked at Destiny and they're like, what did they get wrong? Okay, let's fix this.
We can do this and this better. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like it's kind of like a better Destiny in third-person perspective.
Yeah, it's very much that, and set in modern-ish day. One thing that I was commenting on this morning in the chat room was like, I don't know whether or not it has more to do than Destiny, but it feels like it does because the world is very dense. You're not going to, when you do a mission, it's not like, okay, well, I need to go to Mars to do this mission, and I'm sort of familiar with this area of Mars, and I've seen it a bunch of times. You're just on New York City streets, and the set dressing just makes it look like there's stuff everywhere. And there's also actually like missions that you just kind of run into everywhere. Like when you just walk down the street, there will be like, some dudes.
Yeah.
And you have to fight them off before you can continue proceeding down that street. So
you could
it
continue
feels
proceeding.
like there's a lot more to do. Yeah, you could just like skip over them most of the time, but
yeah.
Like it feels like there's a lot more to do. I don't know whether or not there is because I haven't seen all of the content, but it gives you that impression at least, which is
I don't know.
a bit positive.
I was gonna say the actual world that you're in is what? It's like south of Central Park
Yeah, it's
to
like
like
it's a little
20th
carved out
Street.
area of Manhattan,
It's
and
like
Brooklyn a
not
little bit.
even
Brooklyn
all
is
of
like the
it.
tutorial area, which I think is kind of
Yeah, Brooklyn's like here's 20 minutes in Brooklyn, and then there's like here's a third of the
yeah.
island of Manhattan. Go wander around it. Um, yeah, I haven't gone to the dark zone yet, though, so I can't really
I
speak to
haven't
that.
either.
That's
I'm
the
not
PvP
entirely
stuff.
sure what the dark zone is. From
It's
what I've
player
heard,
versus player.
well, it's PvP, but it's also like, do you betray each other at the end
Hmm.
mechanic, which I don't completely understand that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think I walked into the PvP in the beta. I walked into the PvP zone like not realizing what it was, and just suddenly somebody shot me, and I was like, oh, okay, like that
Yeah.
explains
So
that.
yeah, there's gonna be that. That I still have to get to that. I've just kind of been playing the
Yeah, I mean,
story,
I've
I guess.
I've mostly been trying to build up my base. Like that's
Yeah. No,
if you give me a completion bar, like look, that's what I'm going to prioritize. Like they
yeah.
they they give you these numbers, and you just want to see them go up.
Oh, it's the percentages, but also I like how there's you're unlocking talents, you're unlocking different whatever the left and right button on your controller. I don't even know what they're calling them, but yeah, having like a sticky bomb, being able to upgrade the sticky bomb, like stuff
Yep,
like that is cool.
that's my main bumper tool. Although I
Hmm.
did prioritize like getting to the first tech mission as fast as possible so that I could have the turret. Um,
Yeah, I don't
and part
know.
of that is
I
because
still
I play mostly by myself, and I needed a distraction. Um,
yeah. No, I'm enjoying the sticky bomb.
so before we move into our big topic, and also just so that we don't sound like we're just like heaping praise upon this game, which I am really
Yeah,
enjoying. So
yeah.
there is praise to be
Oh, the
given.
servers! Holy
We
crap!
were like yeah, the servers were on fire. There's that. I was also going to say that the cover system is not as you compare it to Gears of War. The cover system is not as good as Gears of War. It's a little bit wonky. So it's this game sort of strikes me as like the jack of all trades game. Like it does everything like pretty well.
Yeah, the problem I have with it is that in Gears, run, cover, and move over cover were all
Mhm.
attached to the A button, whereas this has left analog for run, A to cover, B to move over cover. And the
Yeah,
whole parkour thing when you're running is kind of weird too. Sometimes
yeah,
you
it's a
do
little
you'll do
awkward.
really dumb things by accident when you hit the B button. Like you'll jump off of like a 30-foot wall. And it's
And
like that's not what
there
I was trying to do.
there's a weird like kind of half-baked stealth mechanic because there will be these moments where you come in on guys and they're not paying
They're not
attention.
looking at you.
They don't
Yeah.
notice you, and I'm like, man, like they're not even looking at each other. If I just had a silenced pistol, I could pick those guys off, But you don't
Mhm.
have that, and you can even like sneak up behind them. I tried this because I wanted to see if there was some kind of prompt. You can even sneak up behind them, and you can melee them, I guess, but it barely does anything. So like, there's
Mhm.
not there needs to be like an instant kill if you sneak up behind somebody or
The
something
problem
because they've
is
got
if
these.
you, it's
It
always
feels like
two
it's built
guys.
on a Splinter Cell engine in such a way that there should be stealth mechanics,
Mhm.
but there
It's like
aren't.
always two guys. They're like staring at each other, and you can walk up behind one and bash him over the head, but then the next guy's there just shooting at you. It's like you're right. There's no. What I ended up doing is just running up there without even aiming and just blowing them away. Like there is. You're right. There's an opportunity for stealth that they've completely missed. Like
Yeah.
which I don't know. Maybe that's just their attitude. They should have given someone a gun with a chainsaw attached to it. Is all I'm saying. That's what
Yep.
stealth is.
Yep. That'd be. So we can move from there into our big topic.
Servers.
The
Uh-oh.
blurring line between. Uh-oh. What?
Hmm.
Never mind. No, never mind. You're good.
Oh, great. Something for me to
That
cut.
was good radio. That was fun.
It was like ping
Hello?
pong.
Yep.
Yes, that was good.
What? Okay.
Is it happening
So
again?
No, he's good.
our big topic this week. Yeah.
Yes.
Our big topic this week is the blurring line between multiplayer and single player, like I mentioned earlier. Inspired by the Division. As somebody who enjoys single player, I'm sort of biased in this specific topic, and it shows in the title that I gave the topic, which was "Hell is Other People." Like I kind of just like playing single player games usually more than multiplayer games. It seems like with games like the Division and last year with Watch Dogs, or maybe 2 years ago with Watch Dogs, there's this encroaching trend of games where it's like, well, other players might just like randomly f with you in the middle of your game. Like they're free to do that, and you can just not play that game if you don't want that to happen, obviously. But it's happening more and more often, and I feel like there's more and more integration. So I wanted to sort of talk about where this all goes and whether or not we like it. This week, the big sort of attention-grabbing headline was Ubisoft made a line simulator because there were so many people in this multiplayer game standing in line to get to a computer like laptop that is one of your mission hubs. So things like that can come up if you don't think it through, and also just like maybe somebody doesn't want to be messed with. Metal Gear Solid 5 was another example of this, where you had your forward operating base, and it's like, well, once you've engaged your forward operating base, other players can just steal your shit. And it's like, well, what if I don't want them to? I won't steal their shit. How about they don't steal mine? But you didn't really have a choice at that point. So, Brian.
Yeah.
You, I think, avoided the forward operating base stuff.
I did, because it was stupid.
I think I can tap your brain about this first.
Yeah.
Where do you think this whole trend is going, and is it something that you're comfortable with?
So the trend is going, and I think this is it's interesting you bring up the forward operating base stuff from Metal Gear Solid 5, because it is pretty clear that Konami came to Kojima at some point and said, okay, we need to have something in this game where we can consistently generate money from microtransactions. You have to put something in there. Now, does that? I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that it doesn't predicate the idea that, or keep us from believing the idea that Kojima himself didn't want to put something like that in there. But I do believe that it was probably driven by that interest, and I think that's where a lot of the online stuff comes from. It's like, how can we continue to get more mileage out of this, sell microtransactions, keep people from trading it in, right? Which, and to me, like, I don't have a problem with this generally if the idea is well executed. In that particular instance, it was terribly executed. There was no reason to ever go online in Metal Gear Solid 5. None. Metal Gear Solid Online was a bummer. The forward operating base stuff was a bummer. The idea that people would just come in, steal your resources, and you'd have no recourse, just terrible. Terrible all around. And was kind of a black mark on what was otherwise a pretty solid game. So I think this is the larger problem I have, is that we're looking at this not so much as here is another way to play this game, so much as here's part of how you have to play this game in order to get your full value out of it. And building around these experiences where we focus on the multiplayer and the connected servers where we can check for microtransactions and people cheating and trying to test the boundaries and that sort of thing. It's the natural outcome of technology being what it is, and these boxes supporting that. But it is not great. I mean, all you have to do is look at Street Fighter V and see the problem that a fully multiplayer-focused game that relies on its servers being up. I mean, that's like perfect case study, right?
Right.
Same deal with The Division and so on and so forth. The only one that was really heavily multiplayer focused, required those servers to be up, required that social multiplayer aspect to play, that actually launched well, was Destiny. And it kind of had to, because otherwise there's no way to play that game, right? So I don't know. It's complicated. I don't really like it, though. I'm not a big fan of this.
Yeah, I feel like we might just be aging ourselves, and it's like, welcome to the Shack News Old Cast. We're old.
I mean, yeah.
I think it's I think everyone should get off of our lawn, but I'm tired of it. But I think that these types of games are going to be necessary evils. I think one other aspect of it, Steve, like you're talking about, just random people hopping in, or that whatever, the headquarters or whatever safe house when there's that line of people. Last night I had the chat open in Division, and it's almost as toxic as League of Legends. Granted, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's also that aspect of it, where it's like sometimes you just want to play a game and not hear racist stuff or whatever, disgusting things, And yes, you can turn off that stuff, but it's like there's merit to single player games. Like, look at Ori and the Blind Forest. That's a great single player game that I can put on if my internet's not working. I can play it. And that's there still are times where you just want to play a video game even if you don't have internet working. And I think that's another aspect of it. Like, I know that we don't like to think of the digital divide anymore, but some people don't have fast enough internet. Yeah, some people don't have fast enough internet to play these games. Some people just want to be offline, and I think that from what I've read, there are people that are turned off by the fact that you have to be online to play it.
Yeah, and that's the case. There's no reason that you should have to be. Like, speaking of the Division specifically, like Brian, you said it depends on how well it's implemented, and I think that's true. And I think for the most part, it's pretty well implemented in the Division. Like I said, I think it's better than in Destiny, where matchmaking is very easy and seamless and things like that. At the same time, there's not really any particular reason why you can't just play this through as a single-player game. And if you just never went to the Dark Zone, you'd be fine. Like, it's presentationally entirely single-player, but there's a lot of little risks when you design a game like this that could be single-player, but you also have these multiplayer hooks that can create problems. And one of them, I mentioned the line queuing thing. That's just like a minor launch thing that I feel like they're going to sort out pretty quickly. One of the bigger threats to the game design itself is how you design encounters, because something that I've noticed when I go to any of the main missions, not so much the side missions, but the big main missions, which always end in a boss fight. Those bosses are like freaking impossible. I mean, like, not impossible because I've gotten through them, but it takes like multiple tries, and usually they're built in such a way where they can pin you down because the encounter is designed for multiple people. The idea is that while one person is drawing aggro, another person's sneaking up. You can't do that alone, Yeah. and so the design is like fundamentally based on this idea that you're going to be playing with multiple people, but you don't actually have to play with multiple people. So if you're not, you're at a disadvantage. So it's sort of like not really ideal either way. If you're playing single player, you're missing out on that aspect. If you're playing multiplayer, then you're actually encountering it the way that it's meant to be. But at the same time, you're sort of being forced to do multiplayer when nothing else in the game makes you.
No, I definitely agree with you, Steve. That you're constantly being flanked in this game, and it's a situation where I was playing with Josh a couple nights ago. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the right side, you get the left side, because they're coming at you from both sides. So if it's just one of you, guess what? You got to run, because there's But the thing is, like, I used to
the pyro guys, like, that's their whole design is they're gonna try to get as close to you as possible. So if you're just
they rush you.
If you're just a guy, if you're just alone, your only choice is like shoot him a little and then run as far away as you can.
Same with the guys with the shields. You'll have a guy with the shield and a pyro running at you simultaneously, and then you run away. Oh, you run right into the boss who also has fire in his. So it's like it's
frustrating. Is my point.
Oh no, totally. The game is designed almost for multiplayer. So it hinders people who want to play single player. I think you're absolutely right. I ran into that last night playing by myself. The other problem is that sometimes you'll join up with a friend. Like, I joined up with Josh, and he's been playing it a little bit longer than me, so he was 2 levels ahead. So he's doing these missions that I'm underpowered for. So that makes it even more difficult, And I know I could have just been like, okay, fine, I won't join you, but I want to play. I ended up getting.
That's like a scaling problem that a lot of games figure out. That it doesn't sound like this one might. Yeah. Maybe this one didn't figure out as well as other games. Like how you scale for multiple people who are at different levels.
Like, Gears had co-op and Gears had single player, and you could play the Gears single player by yourself, or you could play the co-op, which is exactly the same thing as the single player. It's just like, why are we calling these things innovation when we're really just taking away features that existed 10 years ago? and then we're paying the same amount.
When I was running into boss encounter after boss encounter, that is like every one of them. There were like 2 or 3 in a row, I think. That like their whole thing was they had a minigun, you're pinned down, like, and I had to sort of finagle ways to get around them and get to the back of them. But for a while, I was like, what I wouldn't give for just like a sniper rifle, and I didn't even know that the game had them. Like, it took me a while to like even find one. I was like, oh, thank God! Like, when I run into another one of those situations, I'll actually be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
But for a while
I,
there, I felt pretty unequipped.
I wish there was I wish their grenades were better. Like the smoke grenades, for instance. That was
Mhm.
something that I think Gears you could throw a smoke and at least it would give you some cover. What they end up doing, they make it easy to heal yourself.
Yeah.
You know. So
Like
okay,
there's
great.
no like pause animation thing that you have to do to heal yourself. It's
Yeah.
just like you hit the thing and it
It's just
happens.
one button and you're healing yourself. Actually, there's two different buttons to heal yourself. One you can heal other teammates too once you upgrade your medical base. But yeah, like I think that it all goes back to that bullet sponge thing. It's just like you're literally sitting there, probably 5 minutes to kill this one guy who's posted up on a roof, right? You can't
And
get
who's
that
also
angle.
utilizing cover. Yeah.
You know, 1 out of 600 bullets actually hits him, so it's like you have to go and refill your ammo like 5 times while you're trying to kill this one guy. Things like that are definitely frustrating about this game. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's definitely not for everyone, but
Hmm.
it's I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the mindless killing of stuff, and I think it's also I don't know. I like games that take place in New York City, and this one did a really good job of recreating New
It
York.
realizes New York City very well. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, like the core gameplay loop is fun. Like the kill things, gather loot, scrap some of your old stuff, build something new if you have enough of it. You like I'll go out and do a bunch of side quests or something, and I'll come back to my base and I'll be done for the night. I'm like, all right, time to take my 20 minutes of like scrapping stuff, building new stuff, equipping new stuff. You know, like that's all fun. It
Mhm.
is really fun. So I don't want to like sound like I'm too down on it, but like the problems inherent that we're talking about with sort of the boss balance and things like that are things that developers are going to have to figure out as they make this more of a regular thing of integrating multiplayer and single player in the same experience. You
Well,
know?
it's almost like there is no single player in this game. It's just like you can play multiplayer by yourself, and that seems to be the
Yeah,
attitude. That,
yeah, that's a good way of
that's
putting it.
that's the attitude of a lot of these games right now. It's like, oh yeah, you want to go do a mission on Mars and Destiny? Sure, go for it by yourself. 4 hours later,
Yeah,
you
why
might
not?
finish it. You know, it's like, but that's what I'm talking about. It's like we've actually gone backwards in doing this
And
from where we were 10 years ago.
what's funny about that being the sort of attitude of it is that like the way the story is pitched to you, it is very much like a single player story. Not in that like you're the chosen hero or something like that. It's not like that. But it's like you're building up this base. Like the whole story is like you go to New York, you're like this very small plucky band of the division, like this very small agency of specialists, and you're trying to build up this base so that you have a way to build up infrastructure and bring order back to the city. So like if everyone is doing that and you need to be in multiplayer, it sort of undermines the concept of the story. Um,
Mhm.
like I see like probably see other players more often than I see like NPCs, and I'm like, well, it seems like the division is plenty big. Like we could take over the city easily.
Hmm.
Got tons
Yeah.
of people around here.
Just look
Yeah,
how long that line was.
yeah, exactly. We got like dozens of people in this room. We
My example of the line problem was it wasn't the line, it was the doorway to a safe house. There were just two dudes just standing there and no one could get out. I
yeah.
was like, okay, this is dumb.
There was
Because
some
like
definite griefing problem. I don't know what they did. I don't know if people just stopped doing that or if Ubisoft did something like to
they
fix it.
fixed it. No,
I
they
was saying,
fixed
there's
it
no way
already.
people stop doing that. There's no way.
No.
How did they fix it though?
What?
Did they just start banning accounts that they were doing it?
No, I don't know if they pushed a patch or something, but I don't know exactly how, but
It's like a collision patch maybe. Like you can just
yeah.
if somebody's blocking the doorway, you can just squeeze through.
Just
Like
clip through other
But
players.
I don't know.
whatever.
Have you done the different emotes, Steve? Like have you seen
I
jumping jacks and all
saluted.
that
I
stuff?
played some multiplayer last night and I saluted somebody because I didn't know how to say
I
hello. I was just
I
like,
I,
I should say something. Like,
I posted Divine. I was saying hi, that rage guy, and I was doing jumping jacks in front of him while he was in
oh,
his
that's
menu
pretty good.
scrapping.
Yeah. How long before they're selling emotes like Destiny?
I mean, all they need is the dancing emote, and I will totally buy it.
Yeah, the thriller. So I think we need to move on to other things, but I just want to pose a quick hypothetical. 20 years in the future, when when the Oculus Rift 5 or whatever is
Oh,
the
boy.
hot gaming platform. Uh,
And it still won't fit over my glasses. Yeah.
It'll fit over
what
your glasses.
Well, Oculus 5. Yeah. Okay.
what is the what is the end game for all this? What do we see this ultimately becoming? Brian, I'll go to you because we haven't sort of let you talk in a while.
So here's how I see it becoming, and I think one of the chatty users, I think it was TKF or TFK. I'm drawing a blank. I don't have it in front of me.
TKF, yeah,
Yeah,
it's TKF.
Yeah. So he brought up a really good point. In 20 years, these games might not exist, right? So we'll just be replacing with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I think that might also be part of the sort of planned obsolescence angle to a lot of this. So that to me is, we won't be having this conversation about the Division because we can't go back and play it. So, and to sort of self-promote here, we did talk to Frank Cifaldi about this issue back in August when Mega Man Legacy Collection came out.
The whole problem of game preservation.
Right, and
as a science,
the more we see servers and online connections being mandatory to actually play games, the less likely it is we're actually going to be able to go back, refer to them, experience what it was like to try these games out. So that's something.
Especially if they have like proprietary things preventing you from setting up your own server, because there's been, I can't recall specific examples, but there have been like games that have sunsetted their servers and fans have wanted to like keep it alive on private servers, and there's been varying degrees of cooperation from the company.
Yeah.
when that happens, And
I think that was a really salient point, so I just want to make sure that got brought up. But
yeah, he said that. Can you imagine if Super Mario 64 required server support?
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be the worst.
Yeah.
So we're already losing like Mario Kart TV, and like even Nintendo's not immune to this stuff.
Yeah,
so it's just,
that's true. It's just a YouTube portal, and they're like, nope, can't do it.
Nope, can't do it. Can't have it. So I don't know. I'm thinking that I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. I think this is the way things are headed, and I think it is kind of a, it very well could be the end of what we consider an era where if you bought a game, you have that game in perpetuity so long as you have something that can play it. Nowadays, you bought a game, you have something that can play it, but the game's not running anymore because Ubisoft doesn't
technically, Brian, you're buying a license.
Yeah, but I don't know. It gets
into
this weird territory.
I think, Steve, you bring up a really good point, though. In a world where you don't really own the game anymore, why should I be paying $50 for it? Maybe it should just be a monthly subscription. Because I don't think that these games are worth as much as $60 games 10 years ago. I don't think you're getting as much game as you were. And this goes back to DLC, this goes to other things as well. But the fact that you're buying something that if Ubisoft goes under and they have to shut down those servers, the Division's dead. That game that you bought is completely worthless unless someone else acquires it and saves it. So it's different. The value proposition to games, and that's why I don't blame any shackers that were like, I'm going to wait for this thing to go on sale. Because, that attitude is the right one to have from a consumer perspective right now. These games,
especially with no reviews out,
yeah,
it's a really long game and nobody's had a chance to finish it yet. I mean,
not only are there no reviews,
but not a journalist.
There's Steam reviews that are just slamming it because the servers have been down, all these different things. So the first impression a lot of people are getting has been negative about it, even though a lot of people playing it are enjoying it. It's interesting.
There was a while that you couldn't play it, so that pisses people off.
Oh, and every single time I've lost progress probably 6 times since launch, and every time I'm like, okay, I don't want to play this right now, so I just put it down. I'm like, I'm done, and then I go play a game that works, and then I come back because I still like the game. It's weird. It's just. I'm willing to give devs the benefit of the doubt on launch weeks, But what we're talking about, though, the longevity of the game has nothing to do with the quality of the game. It's a fun game, but
it's almost like they're built to be, they're built to expire, to sunset. Like they when they build the game, they know like we're not going to keep this up forever. It's treating games less like I guess art pieces that you expect to be around forever, and more like candy. Like you eat some cotton candy, it melts in your mouth, and then you're done eating cotton candy. And that's sort of a weird, different attitude towards game design that I'm not sure is perfect for the industry.
Yeah, it's almost like free-to-play has infected the paid aspect of gaming now, where it's like, free-to-play game, I'm not going to care if they shut it down because it was free. But if I'm paying $50 and then a year later or something, the game's not working, that would suck. I don't know.
Yeah.
The end of the day though, I got banned from American Truck Simulator, and that's
Look, here's the real problem.
that's the problem.
So we're going to move on to Newsy Bits and our Beat the Dot game, but first, Brian, you have a word from our sponsors.
Yes, I do. Audible.com offers you Chattycast listeners, and currently viewers, if you're watching this, a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial to check out their service. Tons of great books on games, tech, tons of other topics out there, just scads of them, oodles of them. Every week, we're going to highlight one that we've personally enjoyed. We think you might too. This week, you can check out Marvel Comics: The Untold Story by Sean Howe and read by Stephen Hoy. This book is the closest thing we have to a comprehensive history of Marvel Comics collected through interviews and research. It's a great picture of the origins and evolution of the now massive media conglomerate. Just check out that new Civil War trailer. Check it out.
Check it out.
That's why we're recommending this one today.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Check out any of over 150,000 other titles, too, with your free audiobook download. To get it, just go to audibletrial.com/chattycast.
Yeah, how great is Civil War going to be?
I hope.
I was kind of skeptical, but, like, I'm everything about it. I'm just here for.
They're doing the right. They're doing the right things.
I am down. I am down with Civil War. That's all I'm saying.
The thing I love about that trailer is I don't think Spider-Man has to be in it. I think that there's some issues with bringing him in, but the costume looks like it's a 1970s live-action adaptation of the Spider-Man costume. Like it looks a lot like the one from the Japanese Spider-Man by Toei.
And with emoting eyes.
With emoting eyes and a lot, like it's like a big budget version of that, and I love that. I think that's just like it fits perfectly, and it doesn't fit, and it like represents
bubblegum bright, like in a universe where like Tony Stark's costume is like a darker chrome red.
Yeah.
And, like Cap's armor is like the dark navy blue. You got Spider-Man looking like he stepped out of a cereal box. It's great.
The amazing Spider-Man.
So let's move on to Newsy Bits. I've got a few.
When he narrows those eyes, though, I'm like,
yeah, perfect. We can get through these pretty quick, but I wanted to bring up a couple things. The Calico, chameleon, Calico.
Do you know what Calico stands for, Steve?
Calico. No, actually, I don't. What does it stand for?
It is a shortening of the Connecticut Leather Company. This fact brought to you by somebody who teaches video game history.
That is the weirdest factoid. Thank you for that.
1932.
Don't say
1932.
Don't say that the Chattycast never taught you anything. So the Chameleon project has been terminated. This thing was a real shit show, and I feel like we need to address it. It was a emulator type project that was about to launch a Kickstarter. They couldn't launch a Kickstarter without a prototype, so they produced a thing that ostensibly looked like a prototype, and people did a little footwork, a little investigation, realized like, wait, that's not a prototype. that's these other random chips. Well, it's partly an actual game system, but also partly like some other random chips you kind of threw in there to make it look legit. The latest that I had heard before this report was that Coleco was saying, we're going to look into it. We've given them 7 days to respond and give us the hardware so that we can decide if it is legit, and if it is not, we're going to cut ties. And apparently they did, and it was not legit because now the project has been terminated. It was kind of this whole big crazy thing that sort of slowly turned from like a cool fan thing into like, wait a minute, this kind of seems like a scam.
Yeah. So
isn't that like 60% of Kickstarters these days?
That's true. But it wasn't even a Kickstarter yet. It was, I don't know.
Well, we know that it stands for Connecticut Leather Company, but it doesn't stand for shenanigans.
Yeah.
I got a ColecoVision game for you. Did you guys ever play Lupine?
No.
No.
Yeah, it was
Was
pretty
it about werewolves?
No, it was a plane, and you you were flying it, you would loop things, right? And the Coleco controller was a knob. I don't know if you remember this. It wasn't a joystick.
And it had like a telephone dialer on it.
Yeah, when you twisted it, it would change the angle of your plane. So then you'd have to go fly around stuff. It was a terrible game. But I had a ColecoVision back in the day. That was my history report on
Oh,
Thank you.
Connecticut Leather
we're
Company.
getting all sorts of interesting little
very,
facts.
very good,
Factoids.
Asif. Your conclusion needed some work, but you showed the research, you put in the work. I'd give it a solid A minus, B plus.
Nice. Wow. That's why
That
the
counts for
American
college credit.
education system is falling apart.
Brian is a professor out of college, so him saying that, you just got a little college credit. You can take that. So
Nice.
anyway,
Very little, like maybe like
like 1/8 of a credit.
not even that much, like 0.0000007
Yeah.
credit.
Oh, that's okay.
So anyway,
Credit.
but he's gonna still be on the show. You can keep giving him credit. All right.
Yeah,
So
screw it. Just add it up, cash it in later. I'll talk to the registrar for you.
our next newsy bit. So this is just because I wanted to sort of urge both of you to play it. On the eve of Hearthstone's expansion announcement, which I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that, because they've announced that tomorrow during it's some sort of championship. I think it's the Winter Championship. They're going to be announcing the next expansion, or the future of Hearthstone, which we all know to mean the next expansion. They are starting this new initiative. We got news this week called Deck Recipes, which is basically, it seems like a way to make it less threatening to newcomers. Like instead of facing off against 100 people who are all playing the same, like, super refined net deck, it sounds like they're sort of going to be making net decks and building it for you. And if you are lacking a couple of the cards from it, they'll say, hey, you don't have this card, but this card's a pretty good substitute for it. So it seems like it's a pretty inviting way to get people back into it. Do either of you think that you're going to actually try it?
I've lost too many friends to Hearthstone.
It's like heroin. You're like,
Yeah.
not even once.
It depends. If this is another single-player expansion, I don't know. Maybe. If it's another regular expansion, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to say Hearthstone and I are done professionally, but it is. We're taking a break. We're taking a break.
Them, and I think, I mean, my memory could be off on this, but like they usually alternate the single-player and big pack type expansions. And I think the most recent thing they did was League of Explorers. So I would expect it to be like a big, So anyway, yeah, but like this is separate from the expansion announcement. This is just like the game will have this deck building tool from now on to sort of ease people into it, and that's also why they're doing the whole standard and wild thing, is to sort of make it less intimidating for newcomers.
No, I think it's really cool that they're doing that, and I think it speaks to the success of the game that they're still supporting it like that.
Yep.
I just no.
All right, well that was about.
If it gets us Warcraft 4, I'll buy whatever. But
Yeah. It'll fund Warcraft 2, Warcraft the next movie.
Yeah, no, I want
too.
legit. I want an actual sequel to like Warcraft 2, like an actual RTS style Warcraft.
You mean
Warcraft 3 wasn't that?
It was a little Moby-ish.
I like the heroes though. We can keep the RTS stuff, but I did like the heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
All right.
But just give us Warcraft 4. If you do whatever you want with Hearthstone, just give us Warcraft 4.
Yep.
So this last newsy bit, just want to talk about it real quick. There was a leak this week. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Picross has leaked ahead of the My Nintendo launch. I'm not so much bringing this up for an excuse to talk about Picross again, although I would if you let me. I'm more bringing it up to talk about how this sort of implies that they're making special little games as rewards for the Nintendo rewards program. And that seems kind of cool. It's like a little Picross game that ties into the worst Zelda game.
Thank you. I was glad you said it because I was gonna.
but I'll still play it because it's Picross, and I'm sure that there'll be like a Picross Master Sword, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool.
You would.
This is the weirdest period for Nintendo news in a long time. Like it really is. We're all in the dark about NX. We really don't know what's happening on mobile, and then there's just like they keep dropping these little weird things on us, and you're like, okay.
It's got to be part of a larger strategy, right? We're just bouncing all the pieces. It's not just.
It's weird though. It's like
they're not
the
just
little
flinging
things
shit at the wall.
out, and there's like this thing that's really big. There's some big sloppy news story that none of us see, but I don't know. This is the weird. Like I said, this is a very weird period for Nintendo news.
See, this is that they're setting us up for like during their E3, whatever they call it, press conference, their presentation. They're gonna like announce what the NX is. And it'll be like at the end of The Usual Suspects, we'll we'll see all the pieces coming into place at the same time and be like, oh, it all makes sense.
Oh, Reggie was Kaiser Soze the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
that press conference will be at Best Buy.
Well, no, it wouldn't be Reggie. It would have to be Bill because that'd be the one you wouldn't expect. Bill Trinan, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
mean,
Bill is
he
basically.
seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
It
he
seems
is
like
very
Bill is
soft-spoken,
definitely. Bill is
Yeah.
definitely kind of the face now of the direct. It seems.
Yeah, they've sort of slotted him right in there. Anyway, we can move on to our Beat the Doc game. This week is again anagrams, back by popular demand.
Who
found a
demanded
game
this? I should point out.
What?
Who demanded it? I want to know names.
No one. No.
I
you
know,
guys.
Tell me right now. Who did
but
it?
it's-
Not me.
Who did it?
I'm terrified.
I'm gonna say Greg.
Greg?
Anyway, let's.
Greg, come on, Greg.
Point is, I found a game that's like actually not terribly designed, so I'm gonna keep using it. It took Doug Loves Movies years to find good games. Let's keep moving with the ones that we got. So
You should just start ripping him off.
Does this require
see, I
server
would,
support,
but
Steve?
games don't have actors.
Does your anagrams game require server support?
No, it's
We're not
So
going to
there's-
in 20 years.
So we're still gonna be stuck with a stupid game 20 years from now.
I'll change it next week, I promise. But this week's theme is bombs, games that bombed. So you're looking for the titles of games that are generally regarded as horrible pieces of shit.
Okay, this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to change up the method this week. Actually, we're going to do the whole say it when you know the answer.
Oh, all right.
Because I feel like going back and forth, I sort of have to determine who would be better at one versus the other and all that stuff. So.
Okay.
All right. Number one, graph tint.
Wait, what?
Graph,
Yeah.
like graph paper. Tint,
Okay.
like coloring. Tint. Graph tint. Judging by the silence, this is not a great one. Nothing. Famously bad games, guys. Think about famously bad games.
Graph tint. This is fun radio. People listening to us try to figure this out.
Graph tint.
Or screaming at their podcasting devices. All right, Buzz. Time's up. That was Night Trap.
Oh, that
Oh!
one. Okay.
Was that really a bomb, or was that just weird?
Well,
It was
you
a
know.
little of both.
Famously games that get made fun of in different ways, I guess.
God, I knew that.
All right. Number two, Holier Moat.
What?
Holier Moat.
Like M-O-A-T?
M-O-A-T. Moat.
Oh.
And then holier than
A moat that is more holy than another moat. Holier Moat.
holier moat.
These are apparently hard.
I don't like this game anymore.
I think you'll like my other clues, though. They're pretty good.
Okay.
The next one's my favorite of the week.
Okay.
Does it start with the?
No.
Okay, I give up.
It's,
I got nothing. I don't want to do
Hotel
this one.
Mario.
Oh.
What?
Hotel
Oh
Mario.
God. Okay.
Yeah, this is
fine.
the end of this game, by the way.
I found something good in
zero,
like,
zero.
all right.
You ran it into the ground.
Detective Pikachu.
You're Ubisoft. Dang it.
All right. This one I like because it sounds like a little sentence. All right. Alternatively, sea bathroom. Sea like the ocean. S-E-A. Alternatively, sea bathroom.
Good. Really?
Ocean? Like sea bathroom? Like the ocean?
Yes. Like a bathroom that's in the sea.
Oh, boy.
This is just gibberish, Steve.
I swear they make sense once you hear them. I'll also say that this one is probably one of the harder ones, but I like.
Probably?
I like that the phrase kind of makes sense, because some of these phrases don't make any sense.
Bravely second bathroom?
No. I wouldn't
almost so
besmirch bravely second that way.
I don't
So I
know.
started going with like Battlefield Vietnam, but then I don't know where the H fits in.
Oh, you're so close. It's got bat. It's got sort of the same root world word as Battlefield. Steel Battalion Heavy Armor,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Connect
okay.
version of Steel Battalion, which
That
I
you just can't let that one go, can you?
which I reviewed and I'm going to bring up as often as possible. Never forget. Okay, number 4. So far we're tied 0-0. Number 4. A bronze comb tamer.
A bronze.
Comb, like you comb your hair.
Yeah.
Home? Oh. That changes everything.
Yeah. I'm
Wait,
gonna
what
write
was the
these
last
down and like
word?
show them
What was the
show them
last
to the
word?
screen. That'll be how I do it. A
A bronze?
bronze comb tamer. That one also sort of sounds like a little sentence. It's like a job title you'd have.
What do you do, Check News? Oh, I'm a bronze comb tamer.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I'm the senior bronze comb tamer.
And make sure those bronze combs don't get out of line.
All right, that's enough of that. It's Bomberman Act Zero.
Oh.
That did
Bomberman
suck.
Act
I
Zero.
can confirm that game sucked real hard.
All right, 2 left. Still 0-0. Make me proud.
Aren't we already? I mean, this is exactly what you want. This is
A
Yeah, you
the
should-
kin.
desired outcome.
Akin. A data.
Oh,
Like,
I got
you
this
know,
one. Buzz. I got this one.
Yes, yes.
That'd be Daikatana.
Daikatana. Yes. Daikatana.
Okay.
That was one of the first ones that I even thought of as
How
examples.
is Superman 64 not on this?
Because the 64 would give it away.
64 would give it away.
Well, do it anyway, because it's the worst game ever.
It's like Marsupan.
Marsupan
That's from.
64.
Yeah,
46.
It's from. Yeah, it's from. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 also couldn't be on this because the number 5. But
Oh, unless you wrote it out. I guess you could write it out.
You could do FIVE. Yeah, you can do that.
okay.
All right. Last one. So far, Brian is winning at 1.
Yes, I'm the least bad.
Glazed. Neither of you are going to get this one. I'll just say it. But glazed, glazed whale end footman.
And END.
END footman, like the job on Downton Abbey.
Mm.
And also, there's a glazed whale in there.
I'm just
Okay.
going to say it's Duke Nukem Forever because that game sucked.
No, it's got no Z's. Think about
I
things
don't
that have
care.
Z's.
At this point, I'm just going to list games I think suck because I have no idea what the answer to these questions are. It's all gibberish.
I've already won, so I'll just go ahead and be magnanimous in victory.
Yeah,
Okay.
And not give an
Yeah.
answer.
The
Typical
answer for that
Lions
one,
Browns matchup.
I sort of hinted at it earlier by mentioning Hotel Mario and implying that those horrible CDI games were not
Yeah.
off limits. This was Zelda Wand of Gamelon. If you had just said the Zelda CDI game, I would have been like, yeah, all right. Because who knows that subtitle?
Mm-hmm.
No one. That's who. So, at any rate, that's the game Brian wins. And that might be the end of that game.
That is, if you do this again, I will walk away. I will walk off the show.
It's okay to do this game. Just don't expect us to get any answers right.
Well, that it's no different than any other game.
That's true. I mean, who had the worst day yesterday? The Lions or the Browns?
I don't know. Probably Lions because Calvin Johnson retired. So
Yeah.
Tiebreaker. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So this is your consolation prize.
yes, this makes up for it. The whole city of Detroit is now.
This meaningless win on a dumb podcast.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap it up. So that is the show. Brian, as usual, I will give you a chance to plug your academic pursuits.
Oh, I have. I mean, it's one of those things. Like the thing about writing and doing stuff like that is that a lot of things you work on and they don't come out for a long time. So I have a lot of stuff I'm working on, but none of it has been officially put to paper yet. It's just basically okay. Hey, we're probably going to put this in a book or something down the line. It's just I don't. Yeah, it's done. I can tell you about
these
things.
things will appear.
Yeah, like if I told you what I'm working on, you wouldn't be able to see it probably till like later this year or next year. So
I've seen pieces of it.
yeah,
And I'll just say, it's very erotic. Anyway, it's
Nice.
not. I was looking for like what could least possibly describe the things that he's actually working on. So anyway, yeah, but it is actually very good. That's what I was
Were you?
implying, and then I I zigged when I should have zagged. So the things that I've read of your writing seem like they're interesting little bits that our readers might even want to actually check out if they're interested in academic pursuits. So on the site we have our usual loads of content. We've got tons of division guides and a review in progress coming. We also anticipate the big Hearthstone thing tomorrow, which I'm very excited about covering when it happens. I think they're holding the event at noonish Pacific time. So somewhere around there, you'll probably see coverage on the site. So Asif, what are you up to? What are you working on?
Yeah, I guess it's a good time as ever to announce I'm going to be the Shack News janitor starting on Monday.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Basically, whatever they need me to do, I'm going to start cleaning up as the janitor of Shack News starting on Monday. Also, Do Mercury. It's our subscription-based service. $5 a month. You get no ads on Shack News, and you help keep the site going. Also, last week we had a Oculus interview with Palmer Luckey that really took off, and
yeah, that thing blew up like crazy.
Everybody, everywhere, linked to us, including we were on international TV. CNBC gave us a shout out, so it was really cool. If you haven't seen the interview, go check it out. Greg did a great job. It was at a Microsoft event a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to be going to GDC next week, so I will be.
That's the other thing to keep an eye out for is that we're going to have GDC coverage coming up shortly. So, yeah.
Yep.
GDC
look forward to me as the janitor of Shack News.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray!
You'll do a great job. I'm looking forward to it.
Here's your honorary mop. So that's the show. For Asif Khan, I'm Steve Watts.
I am Brian Carr.
And we'll see you on Chatty.